make this castle to a ruin. We're stepping on mine, sleeping with eyes wide open, and you're in between the lines. I won't take what you've been smoking. Oh no, oh no. No one could love you like I do. We're breaking up, we're breaking up. What kind of fire is mine to you? Easy of night, I am the few. We make a castle to a ruin. Castle, ruin. Castle.
I got you on my radar, it's a beauty. I
tell me something new? You waited for someone to save you and left me all alone. I wanna tell you something new. You drove us both into a wall, but the only hurt was me. It's the longest night of my life, and the longest goodbye I've cried. I drive away into the night, and I contemplate for a while. When you love someone, you just can't stop. Spin the wheels until they drop. Don't you wish I would have been someone else? I wanna feel your death without making a mess of you. Won't you tell me something new? You waited for someone to save you and left me all alone. I wanna tell you something new. You drove us both into a wall, but the only hurt was the most humble possible way, and the strongest way I can say, I wish you all the best I can. That I stop myself for a while. I'm saying things I don't believe. The panics rising up in me. You won't you tell me something new? You waited for someone to save you and left me all alone. I wanna tell you something new. You drove us both into a wall, but the only hurt was You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking angry, but then the sky reached my mind. And when I space out, I see the possibilities unfolding the way that I want. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You cut me loose. You make me win every way. Winning every. You show me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose.
All right. Look. Today's some. So just to set your expectations, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Card Clash presented by Premier Gaming. My name is TJ. I am recovering from broadcasting some Asian events and other games. Was doing some League of Legends, was doing some Battle Royale. Having a lot of fun with that. Not having so much fun with the fact that all the events I was doing were based out of China. So I'm like sitting on literally enough sleep right now. By which I mean slightly below the medically recommended amount, but probably enough. And Jury, who is our wonderful admin, normally, I assume has had some sort of a personal emergency, maybe as simple as a power outage, and he has vanished from the face of the earth shortly before this tournament began. So, it's just me on the mic. It's just me on the mic today. And we're short an admin, and we're short a few players. So, we'll just do one group, 2 games. We'll call it a day afterwards. And it'll be fun. Can't ask for much more than that. So with that in mind, we'll kick things off. Welcome to the day. The bottom of the board is 5k. We also have Combo Stealers, which is Lena and Exesh. Team Thunder Max, which is... These names are, like, super on point. Thunderbolt and Maxeed, and then Ninja and Killshot, of course, are a troubled few. Everyone's going for the super explanatory names. The only one that I, like, have to explain is Combo Stealers, and that, in and of itself, you can work out by process of elimination. Here is your board. Is anyone doing anything fancy there? Looks like we've still got Cyborgs as a starter for a lot of people. It's not nearly as extreme as it was last week, where everyone was not just going Cyborg, but doubling down on the Cyborg. Most of these people have tried to get away from the Cyborg pretty much as soon as possible. The only 2-star Cyborgs we see are Maxeed with the Bionic Ninja, which is actually a huge 2-star to get. Because the Bionic Ninja's active ability, which does more damage to people down a level. And then you have the 2-star Steel Fist for Killshot, which doesn't mean much by itself, but it certainly is a solid start. Can take a few hits. There'll be pauses in the broadcast because I'm all alone. That was a tea sip. I feel like the actual answer to solo... I haven't had to solo cast in forever. But the actual answer to solo casting and, like, needing to take a sip of tea is to do it super performatively so that the audience knows what you're doing. For instance... let's take a look at this furry comp that Thunderbolt is setting up. I don't know if we're going to double down on this. I assume this is just one of those early game things. Hashtag just early game things. But if they can get 5 furries during the first couple of rounds, then they'll have a pretty fat shield on those boys. which always helps. Unfortunately, until they have 5 furries, or 4 furries, they have 4 1-star warriors that don't really share a whole lot in common. So Thunderbolt's not going to be able to win these early rounds. Down now to 93 HP. Whatever will he do? You see a 2-star Famine on the board, which tingles my spidey senses, because I don't really like the Famines. It does get traded in here, and it is certainly viable, especially at a 2-star level this early on. But my general critique of the Famine is that it's just kind of the worst hunter in the game towards late game. It's getting you the undead buff, though, so Lena's probably got a pretty solid comp here. The Void Destruction, the sorcerer in the middle of this comp, is interesting. It's a pretty exciting early pickup because they're one of the few mages that actually works well during the early game due to their AoE nature. But, as with all mages, not great until late game when you can have those casts happening fast and furious Tokyo Drift style. Until then, you only see the mage cast go off every few, like once a turn, maybe twice a turn if you have a solid front line. It's not really enough. So yeah, I agree with that trade. Take out the mage, take out the Void Destruction. Lena even went so far as to bin it, putting in a Demon Punisher, the Devourer. I actually tripped myself up there because I thought in my head the Devourer, and then I was like, it's gotta be the Devourer. And I was like, wait, that's not right. I memed myself. Here's the pressure around the side for this board. You can see just having this much of a front line early on is very beneficial. Because it's not just, hey, I have a whole bunch of beefy boys. It's, hey, I have a whole bunch of beefy boys, plus, I believe they have the Warlock buff, though it's not showing. Voodoo Elder plus the Marsh Lord is 2 Warlocks, so plus the Lifesteal. And you can actually see the Warlock buff. Now, I don't know what changed. Maybe me clicking on it fixed it. So that front line that is just warriors actually does twice as well, because those warriors are getting the lifesteal staying around. Down towards the bottom, I'm drawing my eye on Maxine. They were actually the player that drew the Insta 2-star Cyborg. So, wild that's not gone well. My suspicion is it's because they have no solid front line. 2 riders, yeah. I'm not generally the biggest rider boy. Wasn't a horse boy. The stereotype is horse girls, but let's be real. All kids are a little bit into horses because they're cool. I wasn't into horses. Because they're scary and big, and I 100% believe that they could hurt me. Which is why I don't believe in the rider comp these days. That and their spectacular lack of viability as you head towards the late game compared to other base starting comps. So, I think Maxine should be looking to transition away. One thing that I have enjoyed a fair bit of from the riders is you can run the Calamity plus the Goblin Rider. And that will get you the undead buff from the Calamity. Like, if Maxine levels up here, plays the Calamity, the Hog Rider will give him the Rider buff while giving him the Goblin buff, while the Calamity that is there for the Rider buff also gives him the undead buff. So, fun synergy like that. That's kind of the only time I ever get a Rider buff, though, is with that very specific Hog Rider Calamity combo. Outside of that, it's just not worth it. Because you can just run warriors, and they're like riders, but good. Oh, sorry. Just a little tea break there. We'll throw towards... Did we look at Ninja's board? I don't think we did, because I want to remember this. Looks like a human sorcerer skew. But both those humans... This is a deceptive board. Both those humans that make this look like a human sorcerer skew are actually coming from my kill shot. That's the Templar Knight, or the Templar and the Flame Cooler. The actual backline of Ninja's board is composed of a couple of disconnected sorcerers and then weird rider frontline with a Bangar up there as well. Lots of 2 stars. Works decent with the human buff and with the fast flame cooler. That's 3x on the sorcerer. So it's like working. But I'm not sure how I feel about that fact. I'm not going to lie, Ninja. I don't think that should be working. But she's got some. She's got a lot of 2 stars. And that'll keep her going. I kill Sean. The owner, the proud owner of that flame cooler, also has a weird little disconnected thing happening here. This is a... Goblin Sorcerer... No, Goblin Warlock, sorry. And a Marsh Lord for the Warlock buff. Then they have a Warrior frontline, 3 Warrior plus the 2-star Steelfist. Again, though, credit to the fact that you don't need the perfect composition. You do just need a composition, especially during the early game, that is 2-starred and vaguely synergizes. The reason I get so picky about early game compositions, why I oppose the riders and stuff like that, is never because of their viability in the early game, because anything's really viable in the early game, so long as you get the right 2 stars, except for Full Sorcerer. Full Sorcerer isn't viable in the early game. But when we start heading to late game, compositions like Ninja and High Kill Shots are going to struggle because they don't have a defined end game state yet. Now, High Kill Shot can definitely determine it. Same with Ninja, they have flexibility, but they need to start working that out as we get past the round 15 mark here. Because people are going to start getting very low, maybe even starting to get knocked out. And the people at the top of the board are going to start getting ideal synergized compositions. And just running whatever, as long as it's 2-starred, into a synergized composition that's 2-starred. Well, obviously the synergy wins. Speaking of synergy, let's take a look at it. Top of the board, though I hate it, that is a 5x rider comp. It's going to stomp this early game. As I often say, I suspect it will lose out in the late game to anything that is equally synergized. But if everyone here is running a mishmash, and we have Hunter running a 6-5 rider comp, they'll win by default. So it's not a bad thing if you can get it early and double down. Lecco has himself 5 riders as well, but the backing of 3 hunters. I like that more because with the hunters, you have a little bit more backline damage. Riders is fine now, says the chat. I agree riders are better. The reason I say I still think they'll lose to warriors is because I think it's easier to integrate stuns into the warrior comp. So 6 rider late game loses to 6 warrior late game because it's easier to get the ideal late game composition off of a warrior comp. Rider comp is fine. I don't like it because of the hyper late game, but the odds that every game goes to the hyper late game are incredibly low. I bring it up because this is tournament play, and those odds are slightly higher. But they're fine. I just don't like them. That's all. Not a horse boy. The 100 HP is finally taken down. Let go for the first time. Looks vulnerable.
Who's that summoning me?
That came from the warrior comps that are being built here. 6 warrior on both sides. Goblin Berserker over on Lena. That's good to see. Especially because it mirrors what I just assured the chat of, which is that a warrior comp works better in late game. This case is actually not because of the stuns, it's because of the Goblin Berserker. And I believe that Martial Lord. It does still have the Warlock buff with that Martial Lord. I don't actually spot their second Warlock. But it probably died. Probably died. Give me a moment, Lena. Where's your second Warlock? They don't have a second Warlock. Hold up! Oh, Nether Prince. Duh. I always forget the Nether Prince is a Warlock. The Nether Prince always seems like a sorcerer boy to me. You know? Exesh is going full warrior. Does not have the Warlock buff, do they? Oh yeah, Voodoo Elder giving it to them. That gives them the Goblin buff as well, so it's slightly better synergy. If at some point towards late game they can trade out that Martial Lord for the Undead Warlock, then they have ultimate synergy, which is good to see. I think both these comps are really solid. I really like late game warrior comps. I really like late game warrior comps that get a Goblin and a Warlock buff early. So, in conclusion, I really like Exesh's comp. Let's look at the people in knockout range. I kill shot down to a grand total of 18 HP. 5 Beast for his front line. Got some warriors alongside. Maybe could go full Goblin. Never go full Goblin though. So I'm not sure. So a lot of the front line's kind of 1-stars, and then a lot of the back line doesn't have the synergy necessary to be doing a ton of damage. That Goblin Berserker may just be saving him, but you can see the weakness of that front line there. Because they only have 1-stars. They take a big hit there, and they're out. Ninja nearby. This is what I was talking about during the mid-game. They didn't have an obvious goal for their compositions. And now when we get to late game, and someone like the 5K boys that just knocked them out have a full rider composition, someone who's got a smattering of everything is going to struggle. Here is a second smattering of everything, a little bit more focused for Ninja. They're going Sorcerer. That's a little better. They're versus Lena, though. Full Warrior, plus now the stuns I like so much. And already, that's not going well. That should be our first team knocked down. Goodbye, a troubled few. They get just 10 points for a last place finish here. And I was spectating on Ninja, so I've got to click through. Let's keep our eyes on the danger zone. This time over to Thunder. Thunderbolt has still Warrior Furry. And I'm not sure I'm a giant fan of that. 3 furries, so not even getting the full furry buff. You need to have a Starhorn for that. But that doesn't really work with this composition. Starhorn's like nice now as a character, so at least there's some benefit to that. But I don't think it would save this competition. This is actually Lena again, looking for the knockout. And I believed in Lena's comp last time. I think I do this time. You can see a little bit more of a fight being put up against. You don't have the handicap of having an all one-star front line. That means the Thunderbolt did enough damage. They stay alive. Lena themselves on just 7 points of health. Uh-oh, we've disconnected from this game. Hold up! I've got to leave the game. This game is as... Oh, I see you, Orange. I look at the chat for a moment, and it's my chat complaining about how I'm bad at keeping to a schedule. In my defense, I have been recuperating from being on the wrong time zone. And there wasn't a whole lot I could do about it because I just wasn't up at the times where I should have been streaming. I think we're back. Alright, who'd we lose? Just one. Thunderbolt goes down. Lena has 7 HP left though. Exash on 14. Which means I'm going to keep our eyes towards this team, because I think Combo Stealers may be out.
I know how you feel. I can't look into the mirror without dazzling myself.
That's a Kraken in the back lines. Oh, that's actually big plays from Lena. So they've got the Undead Warlock, so they still have their lifesteal plus the Undead buff. Then they also have this 2-star Kraken. That is big plays from Lena.
Live to fight another day.
I'd be very pleased. I'm not sure if it'll save him, because 7 HP is a lot to work back from. But it may earn them better placing. Maxeed, oh my lord. Just got full assassin going. So they actually may hang around here a little bit longer as well. This is going to be fascinating to watch. Full warrior for Exesh. Full warrior plus smattering of the late game build here from Lena. My claims that full warrior plus late game is better than Rider are officially being put to the test, because that's what's happening over on 5K. 2-star Riders across the board. You can see how much more difficult it is to integrate those stuns, though. You have very limited integration of those stuns. A Kraken here. A General of War here. Whereas it is easier to do that, I think, into the Warrior comp. We will see. Or not, because we've disconnected again. It's harder to notice these things when you're solo casting. Because you're already thinking about so much. And then you're just like, wait, nobody's moving. Huh. Something's gone wrong. And we're back. Who'd we lose? Oh no! We lost Lena and Exesh. That means Combo Stealers got just 20 points. Maxeed, in the middle of fighting for their life with a full assassin composition, seems to be doing alright. So both warrior comps went down. Team Combo Stealers are out. I swear I didn't rig this. But so far, it is exactly in the order of the scoreboard that I set up when the stream began. Go figure. Alright, Maxine, what do you do to save your game? The Blade Dancer wouldn't be a bad play. Sword Dancer, sorry. You do have the ability to 2-star that with the Guru. Oh no! Nothing's targeting that Kraken, which means it's just farming up and the Kraken stuns everyone. That's heartbreaking. So much of this game right now is entirely down to, it's entirely down to where the RNG goes for the targeting. Because if the RNG lands and they shut down the General of War or the Kraken, then this Assassin Comp will win. If, as is more likely, one or both of those big stuns survives, then it doesn't work. There's the Kraken in the backlines to be targeted. And it's gone. So, this should be a one round for the Assassin Comp. The Riders do a lot of work onto the front line, though. I guess I speak too soon. The Assassins just can't hold against all that damage. Unless the Blade Dancer is even more awfully powerful than I normally think it is. That'll be the game. Game number 1 of 2 picked up. I didn't catch how much HP they had left. Help. 80, 120. Which means 12 bonus points for the team. So that is 30 points for Team Thundermax. 30. And 40 points plus 12, making it 52 points for 5K Esports. Whoa! That's actually a mad amount of points. I don't think I've ever seen a team get 12 points off of the first round. At least not in the last 3 weeks. We may have had it before then. Trying to remember as a sorry tale. I'm going to tab on over to the Discord and check out what we're doing for Game 2. It looks like we're going to be, as usual, heading to a 5-minute break. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll come right back with game number 2 of the 2 of the Premier Gaming Co-op Clash. Hey, look at that, we're starting soon. Don't go far, our broadcast will continue after this. Welcome back to the Comp Clash presented by Premier Gaming. My name's TJ and we are getting into game number 2 of our group today. We have just one group and our points are as follows. 5k Esports with the lead, 52 points in their collective bank, a little bit fewer everywhere else. Thunderbacks in second place got 30 points, Combo Stealer with 20, just 10 on a troubled few. Oh, and I just realized I did the math wrong, because it was 280 points, which means it's 56 points. So it's a bigger lead than I thought. That's what you get when you have me doing the math, I suppose. 2 times 8 is... Welcome back. Game number 2 ahead. What did we learn from game 1? Riders darn good again. Just me? Perhaps I simply undervalued them, but you can certainly see it's very powerful when nobody else, at the very least, has a solid comp. They did, to be fair, beat out a pretty decent... Oh, I didn't put the game up. They did, to be fair, beat out a pretty decent warrior comp and a full assassin comp. 5k Esports. Both ran 6 rider plus 1 stun with a warlock backline. Which is, in my estimation, prior to seeing it, solid but not the best comp you can run by any means. Having seen it, I think I may have needed to adjust my valuation. Let's take a look at the board today. One thing's drawn my attention, that's Exash's comp. They have, that's right, 3 hunters. They just sold one of them, they must have. Or maybe they were being passed in. That must have been it, because Lena has one? Yeah. They were probably being passed that far for, and they swapped it out for more frontline, which is the right call. Stalker drone this early on is quite a catch, to be honest. Still on 1 star for their entire frontline, though. That's going to hurt them. So, Exash needs to tie that up in a prettier bow. Thunderbolt and Max Seed of the 100 HP currently. Undead Elf with a Cyborg is Max Seed's composition. And this is just Full Warrior, which I'm on board with. Big fan of Full Warrior, to be honest. Full Warrior is the gateway to many things that the Jedi Order will not teach you. Where are the 5k boys going? Because this is how I'll know whether or not it's skewed. Yeah, they're both going full rider again. Although, to be fair, Leko also has 4 human. So as I said, this is how you kind of know whether or not it's skewed towards a specific comp being OP. Whether or not the winning team is able to run it 2 times in a row and win with it. Dominantly. As of yet, they haven't lost a round. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on the developing rider comp situation. Killshot has got himself some undead. Demon Punisher in the bank as well. Sorry, the Punisher, both of them now are getting passed by Ninja. So I'm trying to keep an eye on these two, a troubled few, because they keep going out pretty early and they very rarely have defined compositions in time. That's been my big takeaway. And if you've been watching the tournaments, they always do pretty well in the early game. Then when we get to late game, all of a sudden they flounder because they don't have a specific direction for their composition. So what I want to see from these two, maybe not today, but over the course of the next few tournaments, is a focus towards them getting better directed compositions. Killshot has a lot of places he can go here. Doesn't need to be directed yet. I would say he's probably leaning towards a warrior, though. He's got himself an undead. So if you run towards warrior, you can build the undead buff, pull out the goblin warlock, that kind of thing. What's Ninja doing? A little bit of warlock, a little bit of demon punisher. Okay. No need to judge. It's all cool. If you're going Demon Punisher, I think you need to commit to re-rolling a bit during the early game, because, like, the Lilith, you need to be pretty good. You want a 2-star Lilith or something, like... Actually, what is Lilith? Is she a common? Or have I overestimated? Ah, a blue. Okay. That's not as bad as I thought. So, in that case, you don't want to be re-rolling during the early game. I thought the Lilith was, uncommon. But according to this, we're living in rare. Which means that as we head towards late, the Lilith is going to be still pretty available, which means you don't want to spend a whole lot of your economy right now. Sit on the bank, and then spend it for rerolls to get yourself some buff Demon Punishers towards late game. Checks out. Ninja's current bank is a grand total of 13 gems, though, which is, fun fact, not enough. Still puts her in the top ranks, though. Hunter and Leko have about 20-ish, 30-ish. Meaning they have the most economy of anyone in this game. We did just see a whole bunch of blown economy from Lena and Xsesh, which is worrying because they're both still on 5 characters, level 5. And everyone else, save for Maxeed, is already at level 6. They're slacking. Xsesh does have a 2-star flame cooler, though, so, you know, some things are working out. Actually, why'd they get a 2-star flame color? Hold up, Xsesh. What's up with that, dog? Because everything else they've got is Hunter Warrior. I got on 2-star flame color's not bad. Maybe they just got handed it in a couple of rolls and picked it up. I don't know how their rolls happened, but I'm just saying that's not where they should have invested their rolls. Because they don't even have a human. Okay, there's the werewolf. Now you got a human. Power to you. Look at that. Look at you go. I think this is a mistake. But I'll say it in the same sing-song voice. Because they're still on a grand total of 5 gems. That means their economy's suffering. And they've got a flame cooler and a hunter composition. Hey, 2-star flame caller. Seems to be working out. Alright. I'll keep an eye on them and say I told you so. If they lose late game. And if they win late game, we'll never speak of it again. Already careening towards knockout position is Team Thundermax, 53 HP on both. 6 Warrior for Thunderbolt. Maxi, 3 warrior, 3 hunter, undead. They're looking, I think, for the warlock buff, unless they want to go all in on warrior. Because the thing, in my opinion, that makes the warrior comps work is not having a hunter backline. It's having a smattering, a collection of different buffs to back them up. Ancillary buffs, I sometimes call them. So you have your 2 undead, you have your 2 warlock, you have your 2 goblin. And if you can build that network behind a solid warrior frontline, you almost always are better than any other late game composition. Because you can also just work in slow and steady stuns for the late game. For warrior now for Maxi, make that 5, so they are looking for the full warrior comp. Which is solid, workable. Check it out. I think they put a little bit too much value on getting to that mystical number 6 because their backline isn't quite there for me. That undead buff is coming from a famine, which is, yeah, at best. But they're getting there. The warriors that I always advocate for will give them a win over Ninja. That may be equally so on Ninja as to Maxi, though, because Ninja's not been having the best time. They did just get 4 Demon Punishers, though. Which is a good sign. Pair that with the Warlocks, now it's just a leveling game. They want to get all those Demon Punishers to a level where they're doing enough damage. So, full Demon Punisher for Ninja into Maxi here, who is a steady hunter backline. That's just going to beat them every single time. Because the superpower, of course, of Demon Punisher is that AoE damage. It's really good against clumped warriors, that kind of thing. Beast comp, chews it up, loves it. You give them a front line to fight, while a hunter backline sits behind them and pounds their key characters. And it struggles. And that's what Ninja plays into. And it's a loss. Let's talk about knockout HP. Thunderbolt on 25. Full warrior? Like extra full warrior. Like 7 warrior. And selling extra stuff. It's a bad sign, especially when it doesn't get you to an interest level. That got him from like 6 to 8 gems, which isn't a direct increase in interest. Just no reason to sell in a situation like that. You might as well keep the Void Destruction around. Who knows, maybe get 2 of them next turn and all of a sudden you have another 2-star. It's not getting you anything to sell them. Hey, the glutton. Shouts out to my man, the glutton, for his lifesteal. Continue to build that werewolf. Lots of things that can come from it. 5K's Lecco, though. Struggling after 5K's victory in the last game. Human... 4 humans. Rider is a sideline. It looks like this is pivoting towards Human Sorcerer, because you can see that backline, Frost Lotus, and Flamecooler. Which I'm actually normally a big fan of, so I'm not sure how to take the fact that they're losing. Apart from badly. This is interesting. So what I just saw was their frontline die a little bit too fast and their backline not do enough damage. In other words, failure on every part of this composition. Maybe the answer is, hey, you need to full commit. You need to spend your money rerolling your human sorcerers, get a Lightbringer in there, in order to have the backline burst that makes the sorcerer comp pop. No pun intended. Or maybe the answer is, hey, Rider isn't a great way to pivot into the human sorcerer comp. Which would be wild to me because it seems like it obviously is. But the capstone, when you think about it, of the human sorcerer composition is Werewolf and General of War. Those are the two cards that are normally the hardest units to get. Because everyone else runs them. Werewolf not so because he's particularly good, but because he's particularly versatile. As a human beast warrior, there's always a need for a werewolf in your comp. And it's like a decent unit, so why not? I mean, I'll tell you why not, because it ruins the dreams of some boy trying to go human warrior. Oh, 3-star on the Unicorn Cavalier. That's good for Lacko. It's a lot of damage. I'd say with the 3-star Unicorn Cavalier, it should be a pivot away from the humans. Pull out your 6th rider, you know? Not that I'm a giant fan of that, but you got a 3-star Unicorn Cavalier, flaunt it. Also build up to the goblins to make that work. Uh-huh. Thunderbolt could be in trouble. Oh my god, 5 HP. Okay. They got full 2-stars. But there's nothing in the backlines. This is just full warrior. Meathead the composition. Not a great sign. They're going to be past a Kraken, which'll help, but it's not what you want. Well, you do want a Kraken, but you don't want to be past it, because you can't control where the Kraken places. So there's a decent chance that the Kraken just gets placed too far forward and dies immediately. Good RNG that turn. Oh, bad RNG because they're playing into an assassin comp, and therefore it doesn't matter. Hey, it's a 2-star. Bet it's got a ton of Spellbind staffs on as well. No! Forbidden Tome with full resistance clock. Hey, still seems to be doing pretty well. Got an early cast off. And that'll turn things in their favor. We lose Lacko in the meantime. The first player eliminated from game number 2 is a member of the team that won it by a landslide during game number 1. He was caught between a couple compositions, so it's not wild that he goes out first, but it is notable. Dost my eyes deceive me? It's a 2-star Night Owl. You don't see those every day. Good rolls for my kill shot. Ninja on just 4 HP has 6 beasts as a comp. When I said, hey, this team needs to pivot to more decisive late game compositions, I naturally mean full beast. Full beast in and of itself isn't bad. The reason full beast is bad is because of the other compositions that are powerful right now. If you want to run full beast into like assassin by ninja, that's solid. We also lose thunderbolt. But if you want to run 5 beast into demon punisher, sorcerer, or warrior warlock, you're gonna have a bad time because all of those comps can beat it. So the problem the composition has is just the way it plays into other comps. We'll have to say goodbye to one of its proprietors as our only beast gets taken out of the game. Ninja's gone now. that leaves actually the 5K squad as the closest to elimination. We'll hop on board Hunter here. He's still rocking that Hunter backline with a Rider frontline. Hunters should do particularly poorly into the beasts here. And you can see a little bit of why. Even with two-star stalker drones, it's very hard for them to find the right targets, because the way their RNG works, they have an equal chance of targeting one of the Marsh Lord summons as targeting the Marsh Lord itself. So they just get lost, overwhelmed. So, particularly bad matchup there for Hunter. They're still on top of their game though. 17 HP left. That's probably enough to lose a round. What can they do with that time? I guess I'd like to see a Goblin pick up. Go somewhere else with your buffs. Hog Rider almost at a 3-star. Great, really solid character to have that many of too. But there's just no reason to there's no reason to have a 2-star Unicorn Cavalier on the board here. Especially when you're getting past a 3-star Unicorn Cavalier. Strip it down to like 2 Riders, build a whole bunch of other buffs behind it. Because right now this is just like weird as a comp. Keep the Calamity and the Hog Rider, bin every other Rider. That's my call. And don't double play him.
Don't look at beauty for too
Yeah, put it in the Kraken.
or you will never
This is
again
good.
look away.
Because you don't want, there's no real reason to have, like, 4 Rider here. It's not giving you a whole lot in comparison to having a couple more stuns, which is what you could earn if you had the gems for rerolls. Speaking of stuns, they go in the corner and a General of War sword lands right on top of them. That's going to mean the Kraken's much less effective. You can still see even here the effect that a good Kraken has on the composition. But not enough of an effect. 7 HP left for Hunter. Just 1 turn away from elimination. Lena just get a Goblin Warrior? Yeah. This is a solid late game Warrior comp. You can't ask for much more. Warlock buff from the Misfortune, actually being past both the Misfortune and the Voodoo Elder for the Warlock buff. And also gets the Glutton to earn the Undead buff. Backline is all but non-existent, but the Flame Cooler and the Kraken are what you want in that backline. So I really like this. Oh, right. Hunter's in elimination range. Should be watching them. Oh, Hunter has been eliminated. Goodbye, 5K. Out in last place. 66 points at the end of the day. Wouldn't have seen that coming after game 1. I do wonder what changed. I think it was just the recommitment to the Rider comp without the same roles. And with opponents that were rolling better. As I said when we started, you can tell if something's genuinely OP if you can just run it again, pardon the term, brain dead. If you can just say, oh yeah, I'm just going to run the Rider comp again, and it works, and you win, then something's broken. But they try and run it again, and they don't get the right rolls, and they're playing against different opponents, and it doesn't work. And that's a good sign for the balance. It means that Riders are viable, but not overpowered. Lena's got just 12 HP and nothing in the bank. They just burned a lot. May or may not have been worth it. Into that Goblin comp, that may be their game. Yeah, it is. Goodbye, Lena. That means every player left is all alone. There are no teams left. Should Maxide win this game, regardless of their bonus HP, they would have a grand total of 70 points, which would put them on top of 5K Esports. Should anyone else win, I don't believe they can win the tournament. 40 points for first place, 30 for second. Kill shot. I asked for some improvements. You can see the stuns causing trouble. It's a good cast of the Void Nebula. Does not work out. That's game. 20 points to a troubled few. Gives them a grand total of 30 points. That'll shift them up above Combo Stealer. But perhaps only temporarily, because Combo Stealer's still in it. Exesh versus Maxide is our final two. If Exesh wins, then they'll have second place. They, of course, represent Team Combo Stealer. Maxide wins, they win the tournament. Those are the stakes. Exesh has got Warrior Comp going. This is actually really solid Warrior Comp. This is what you want from late game Warrior Comp. They've got 2 Goblin Berserkers. Wild at 2 stars. Which is not normally what you want from late game Warrior Comp, but no one's going to complain. One of those is being passed. Okay. One of those is being passed from Lena. So, Lena did good work before they died. So, then you have the CC combo from the Kraken and the General of War. Backline from the 2 Goblin Berserkers. It's really good. Opposing them, though, that is a ultimate weapon that just got picked up. Be interested in that. Oh, they do get the cast up. I thought they'd just been blown up by the assassin strikes, but they do get the cast up. And my, the damage it does. The bomb takes out the front line. Follow up the Kraken ult. That's Exesh down to 14 HP. Maxide's losing on their board, though, because the ultimate weapon cast didn't go off. Will be much less of a loss, though. Only 2 characters opposing them. Goes to show how the RNG made that decision. Was that a 2-star on the Goblin Berserker that just happened?
All right. You call the
It was. It's a solid upgrade for Maxine. We'll give them a little bit more damage. I think they may win this next round just off of that, and that may end the game, remember, so it is important. Take a look at the positioning. You can see them putting that General of War on the side. Does he have a Forbidden Tome? He does not, which makes it not normally the right call. I want to put someone like the General of War in the middle so he doesn't get surrounded and take damage from a lot. Oh, the Wukong comes for. Okay. Good stuns land. Exesh's backline not holding as a result. That might be game. I think it is. These Goblin Berserkers have got to do a lot of work, and they can't do it. Exesh is out. Maxide has it. And 5K Esports leave in second place. I'm going to need to check the numbers on that. 74 HP. Let me get that right. $74 HP for the first place team. Thundermax. Combo Stealers get 30, 40, 50 points total. Putting them in third place. 5K Esports take second. Oh, wait, no, I'm miscounting, because, of course, they get 30 points for second place. My math, as a result, is off. that will mean 5K Esports are out on top. I was like, oh, they're going to beat 5K Esports' record. Didn't even think through the addition. This is what, like, normally it's bad and I can't do math. But it's definitely, like, tired TJ, 8 times worse. So that's, unless I'm crazy, 96 points total for 5K Esports, which gives them first place over Thundermax, in second place, and Combo Stealer and Troubled View will take up the last 2 slots. Wow! What a TJ. It's not going great for me in terms of sleep, but I've got an opportunity to do these, and I always will, because it's a lot of fun. I think my lessons from today are that the Rider Comp is better than I thought, especially after the most recent updates. And the early game cyborgs are finally falling out of favor. People have woken up to the fact that if everyone goes cyborg, everyone is also sad. So 10 out of 10, guys. Glad we have fewer cyborgs in the world. Thank you so much for watching. Congratulations to 5K Esports. I'm bringing up the music. This VOD will be available on the Premier Gaming YouTube channel. If you would like to catch any of the games you missed. Normally we run 2 games, but we weren't able to do that this week. Because it seems like it's not just me who's out of whack. I have a lot of friends who are just like, man, this week's just like a bad week, you know? It's got a bad energy. I think they're spot on. Alright, so have a great rest of your week, and that's not right. Have a great rest of your week. We'll call it a night here. Congratulations to 5K Esports, and that'll be the end of us here.